Wizard of West LA here. Let's talk about I2C or I2C. Now, I2C is a protocol that requires only 3 wires. And that requires a ground. And then on an Arduino, we're going to do it using Arduino. We have A4 and A5. Now let me show you what those are actually called. This is a display that uses I2C. And when this first came out, when we had these displays, we used to use up all of these connectors on the Arduino just for the display. Now you can use 3 wires, a ground. I'm going to zoom in on here. We have a ground, that's power, VCC. We have SDA and SCL. SCL is the clock, SDA is the data. And we only need 4 wires versus using up all of these connections on the Arduino. So on the Arduino, we are using A4 as SDA and A5 as SCL. What I did was wire SDA to SDA, SCL to SCL. So A5 to A5 on one Arduino, and then A4 to A4 on the other Arduino. Most important is join them with a ground. That is the most important. So let me show you what happens. Real simple setup here. I will post the code so you can see how this actually works. It's actually not too difficult. What I'm doing with this is sending a number from this Arduino to here, and then this one is sending it back again. So I will show you what the video looks like as I power both of them up, and it's set up for one shot where you leave this one on. This is the slave, and then this is the master. I'm going to leave this one on, and the way it works is you reset this Arduino and it shows up on the display. So let's take a look at the screen and let's see what it looks like. Let's look at the screen. Okay, so let's look at the screen. I'm going to turn on the other Arduino. And now I'm going to start the master. I'm going to reset it. So now it says I am the master. It receives nothing because the other one isn't doing anything. I just turned it on. It sends the value 12, then it returns 12. And received is misspelled on the output. So just so you know, I'm going to reset it again, and you'll see it send it again. Sends it out and then sends it back. And that is how that works, as it sends it from one Arduino to the other Arduino. Let me show you the code really quick. This code, now this is for the master. This is the code you stick on the master Arduino. So it sets up this I2C slave address. We have one of them. By the way, I'll give another video which has a breakdown of what I2C does, I2C. One of them, the address is 11, the other address is 12. And what this does is that it sends a display, as you saw. It says, I am the master. It goes through, as it says, it requests a value from the slave, which it's not getting anything. Okay, we can change this. So it doesn't get anything on here. Now it sends 12 to the slave, and I'll show you the code for the slave, and then it returns the value from the slave. As it goes from there, it comes back and we get the new value, and that is a one shot. You can do this as a loop. You can put it in here and do it as a loop. So now let's look at the code for the slave. Let's look at that. The slave code, that is the code that goes into the Arduino, the separate Arduino, which is the slave unit. One thing I forgot to point out, which is very interesting as we go through this identifies that Arduino as address 11, and then it writes that address right here as 11, and this is for display. So we have two different things I wanted to point out on here. We have write begin, which writes to the address. Serial is for the display. You can actually see something and it says I am a slave. And then it will delay and it will send down the wire a request, and then it sends these two subroutines. We have an on request and on receive. So let's look at those. There's some extra code on here I put on here, and I'll be doing another video with that. The serial display, the little monitor will show received requests, and it's sending this to the screen. Here's what it's writing. So it's writing whatever it receives from the request from the master, and then it receives the event, and then this one reads the number, so it gets the number 12 from the other one, and then it writes that number down the wire, as it says. I like this notation. It's wire write, which is the I2C. So this will write it back, and that's what you are looking at. So I just wanted to go through this really quickly, and I have some other ideas to show you a lineup of I2C, and I will post this code on the website. And I hope you liked the video. Feel free to give us a thumbs up, and if you like the video, and also subscribe to the channels. I will be posting a lot of extra stuff on Arduino with I2C and using the display, because there are a lot of displays that are I2C or I2C, and those are very fun to play with. As a matter of fact, you can go back in my older videos and you will see a display. I will post that one, and that's an I2C or I2C system. So remember, the most important thing, keep on learning.